Hello, my health freedom loving friends. Misty Carlfeld here with Health Freedom Idaho, and I'm here with Christine. She is Brandon's mom, and she's going to give us an update today on, as we know, she got arrested again last weekend, wasn't it?
Saturday, yeah.
Last Saturday on her moving day. And I got to tell you, I'm pissed as hell today. I've been sitting here with Christine and her family, her mom and her sister, and they're sharing these stories, and I wish that there was enough time for you all to understand everything that she's going through and the rigmarole she's being put through, and it's just never ending. It's never ending, and what really bothers me, parents and grandparents, this could happen to any one of us.
Yes, it could.
This could be any one of us in this seat right here wanting our children back. And I was thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking about how my children say things like, I can't live without you, Mommy. Or my littlest one saying, when I talk about Brandon and this story, and my little one saying, why don't they understand that children just want their mommies? They just want their families. Why don't they understand that? Is this what's best for Brandon? Okay, so let's back up a little bit, because I could go on a rant. Trust me, I could go on a rant. Because this affects every single citizen in Idaho.
Yes.
So let's talk about your arrest last weekend. It was the same case number.
Same case number, same charges.
Same charge of injury to child.
Same bond, everything.
Same bond, everything. And so this was called in. So there's not a paper trail. That's what's frustrating.
No, I asked to see my arrest warrant, and they said we don't have a paper trail. It was a verbal.
A verbal.
A verbal.
So you can't actually see the charges against you or who brought them.
Right. So I have an amended NCO, which is
That's
a
no contact
order.
order.
Yes, correct.
She uses these terms with me, and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
That's how they tell you, and then you ask what that means, and they explain it to you. So
gotcha.
NCO is a no contact order, and this is, so you guys all know I had my first one. That was back on June 6th. Now I have an amended one that says I can't even return to the place of residence where I lived because Brandon lives there. Brandon does not live there. I explained this to them. They said, what do you mean he doesn't live there? Yes, he does. No, he does not live there. He's been in foster care since January 17th when he became a board of the state. So confusion kind of set in at that point from an arresting officer's point of view. And he goes, well, at one point during the book and release, they decided at some point we no longer had this bail to have to post, so I don't even know.
And that's why the confusion on social media
Yeah.
last week, and because we were raising money, because he told you there was going to be $10,000.
A second one, right.
A second one.
Right.
And so we're raising money to try to get you out, and then they ended up releasing you without, right?
Right. I was there less than 2 hours, I think.
And
so.
probably, I'm going to take a wild guess that it's because they arrested you with the same charge on the same case number and realized that shouldn't be happening.
I would think so too. I don't know. I honestly do not know all of the details. Honestly, I don't. And I don't think anybody knows all of the details.
Because it was all called in.
Right. It was called in. Now, the only thing that I have is the NCO paper that says I can't go back to that place of residence because that's where Brandon lived. Brandon
Well,
doesn't
good
live
thing
there.
you were moving that day.
Yeah, because at that point...
That would have rendered you
it rendered
homeless.
me homeless, yes.
Is that what's best for Brandon? For his mom to be homeless? Okay,
Yeah.
So luckily you were moving, and so you were arrested by somebody with the sheriff's department.
Canyon County, yeah.
Canyon County Sheriff's Department, but it was called in by the police department.
Nampa Police Department, yes.
And they say that was called in by the prosecuting attorney.
Yes. But I don't have a paper trail of it. So I asked Nampa Police Department, can you please provide me with the paper trail of these two dates, the June 6th date and the August 10th date. And they said for the August 10th date, I have to contact Canyon County. Canyon County says, no, you have to contact Nampa Police Department. So someone, will you please get me the paperwork, please? Because I would really like to know exactly the details. Who called it in, at what time, what was said. There's got to be something, right? You can't just say, yeah, I want a warrant for your arrest and not have a name, a date, a time that called in. There's got to be a paper trail.
It's really hard to follow up on something when you don't actually have the details. So.
Yeah.
Okay, but what we know is, because I was looking at the paperwork just now, you're not supposed to be at your previous place of residence.
Correct.
And then you have to go look online that says that, how does it word it about 8?
So on the no contact order, it also reads now that there are no exceptions to this NCO, meaning as of that time and date on Saturday, I could no longer see my son, period, even at the CPS office.
Because how is it worded when you go online? It says like
So
no
if you go
contact.
if you go to iCourts now online and you can look at my case and I look at the details of it, it says that I am not allowed to have any contact with a minor under the age of 18.
No contact with a minor under the age of 18. So what does that even mean? Like,
I would
can
like
you
to
go
know
to church?
why, because
Can you go to the grocery store? I mean,
I
there's
have to be
minors everywhere you go.
Careful. I have to be
And-
extremely careful. You cannot have any contact, period.
And what does that mean? Like, I looked at someone, I touched someone, or they like, hey, how are you? You can't do that because they're under the age of 18.
Right.
So, I mean, it really pretty much makes you at home.
Yeah, and I just want to put this out there because I find it really odd that this happened this way. So originally, a lot of people know we haven't been here that long. We haven't lived here that long, right? When this first started, okay? And CPS people were saying, well, you need to get out in your community more. You need to know more people. That the little bit of people that we did know wasn't enough for them, okay? This happens. Who do you turn to for help? Okay, you've got people, your attorneys, whatever, trying to help you in court. 6 months goes on, and all of a sudden, prosecuting attorney decides to pull criminal charges on you. Then what do? Okay, when you've got to be kidding me, right? So CPS is sitting there telling me that I don't know enough in my community. I'm not involved enough in my community. Okay, I get involved in my community. I'm now more involved in my community than I ever thought I would be involved. People, you have amazed me, so thank you so much for your support. However, this is not how I wanted to get to know my community. But now I know my community. Now I'm, trying to get my son back to, be involved in the community more with him. And now CPS is saying, or prosecuting attorney saying, nope, we're going to have a no contact order. So now I can't have contact with the community that you told me to have contact with. Are you kidding me?
And
So what do you want me to do? I'm playing by your rules and you do this.
Who are they to determine how much is the appropriate amount of contact with your community? I mean, you live with your mom and you live with your sister and you have your church community. Who are they to determine how much is the right amount of contact with your community and then effectively cut you off from your community by saying you can't be no contact with anybody under the age of 18? That's absurd.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not allowed to talk about the CPS case.
I have to be careful with that. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Because there's a protection order on it, and it involves a minor. So.
Okay. But as of right now, your next criminal case is not until October. Is that correct?
No, that CPS case is
The
October.
CPS.
Yeah.
Okay, so as of right now, the CPS case is not until October. And you all were separated in January.
Correct.
How is that the Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial? How is that speedy for Brandon? How is that speedy for his mom? How is that speedy for their family? If that were you, separated from your children,
Effectively,
for 10 months.
Effectively, as of Saturday when I was served this amended NCO, I also received a call from a supervising CPS agent, however you want to view them, a supervisor, who I have talked to on the phone and have talked to in person about my case. And she also had told me that his aunt and Nana are no longer allowed to see him either. They are not party to this case, period. They are asked to leave the courtroom like everybody else is when they come to support. They can't text, they can't talk, they can't see each other in person. Are you kidding me? So they have now effectively severed all ties between my son and his family, who have known him since birth.
And this is why I'm outraged today. How is this what's best for Brandon? They want to say that Brandon has an eating disorder.
They said it in the hospital, his second discharge, that's what his discharge papers say. Now the same doctor who said that is saying, no, he doesn't have an eating disorder. Well, what is it then? I mean, honestly,
They're going around and around.
Tell me what is wrong. I can tell you what's wrong, and it's going to come out in court, and you all know what it is. They wanted to sit there and deny it, but paper's paper, and you can't. This is test results.
So he's now with his third foster family. Mm-hmm. He had his phone taken away. Mom fought to get it back. Mm-hmm. We don't know if he currently has it because the family isn't able to talk to him.
Correct.
They're not able to talk to him. So they actually now, they don't know how he's doing.
So the other thing too is in the last CPS case, prosecuting attorney, the caseworker, and the judge were all saying, oh, no, we're all about reunification. This has nothing to do with termination. Bullshit. Why did this happen then? If you're all about reunification, why did you rearrest me on the same charges? You don't want to hear me in courtroom for a criminal hearing. You don't want to look at the facts. You don't want to, I don't know what is going on. Honestly, this is creating so much stress on my son. This is the whole, why are you focused so much on me and what I'm saying to the public? Because you guys pretty much made me go take it to the public. I needed help with this, so where did I go? I reached out and I got a hold of a legislator. That legislator was so kind and so caring. She was so upset on the phone, literally upset over what's going on, that she put me in touch with you guys, with the public, because it needs to be public knowledge.
Yeah. And Grandma showed me a picture of Brandon, and I've seen a lot of pictures of Brandon. He's adorable. And his wrist looks so thin. So by all accounts, Mom, Grandma, Aunt are looking at him and saying, he looks like he's losing weight. He looks to me like he's losing weight.
That's because he is losing weight.
And he's losing weight in foster care. So how is he any better off in foster care than he was at home with his parents, with his family, with his mom and his grandma and his aunt? This is his family. How is he any better off? That's my question.
He was never losing weight in my care, except for when he was sick. And that's why I brought him into a doctor. That's why I brought him back into a doctor. I brought him back into urgent care. I brought him 3 more times into the hospital. Why didn't they help all those times? No, we're just going to patch him up, send him back home.
Mom has done all she can, and was doing all she can to reach out for help with her son who was sick, and he was losing weight because he was sick. Now he's losing weight in foster care, and he's not sick.
So why is he losing weight? And you can't sit there and tell me it's because I went public with it, or it's because of blah, 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 blah. You want to know why? You separated us. You put him back in my care, that boy will gain weight. I will take him to the nutritionist that I have had set up since before we were separated at the hospital. It's ridiculous. It really is sickening. It's disgusting. It's wrong that this has happened. I did not have to go to the public for this. This could have been situated and sorted out in the courtroom. But you didn't want to hear me.
She hasn't had her date in court.
No, I have not.
She
I
hasn't
have
been
not
able.
had due process. My
No due
constitutional rights
process.
have been... It's ridiculous.
They were separated in January, and here we are in August, and she hasn't been able to tell her side to a judge. That is not due process, friends. So let's get to the call to action. Here's what Brandon needs from you. Brandon needs an attorney. He needs a good attorney that will fight for his constitutional rights. What happened when you tried to get him information about a good attorney?
There has been a man that came forward and who wants to represent Brandon. Brandon wants to have that second opinion. He openly admitted that in a CPS visitation that we had. And they would not allow Brandon to have the note, a piece of paper that had the attorney's name and phone number on it. Social worker took it and said that she will talk to him about it, but she has to talk to his attorney first about it. That's not how that works.
His court-appointed attorney.
His court
that
appointed.
Brandon doesn't even want and isn't doing anything for Brandon.
Brandon told social worker beforehand and me and everybody since day one that this attorney never calls him back, never talks to him. The only time he ever talks to her is in the courtroom. There are things that this other attorney should have been doing from day one that is not being done. And Brandon has every constitutional right. He's got every right, period, to a second opinion, period. And he should actually be told that by CPS, by his court-appointed attorney. These are your rights. This is what it is. I know for a fact my son does not understand this court stuff. And I say it that way because it has been said that way. I will say it that way, okay? It has been said that way.
How can he possibly? We're grown-ups and we're still trying to figure it out. How can he possibly?
My son wants to know why.
He needs guidance with a good attorney, a good constitutional attorney.
Yeah.
So you guys, that's going to cost money.
It
Okay?
does.
So we please make a donation. We'll post a link to that. Please make a donation toward a good attorney for Brandon. And we have one in mind. One has stepped forward, absolutely, and he's at a way discounted rate. So he's doing his part. So let's do our part and raise the money for him. The second thing is that the next court hearing that we all need to be at, it won't take very long. It's August 21st. What's going to happen on August 21st at 2:30?
August 21st at 2:30, yes. That is my arraignment, and basically I'm going to walk in and plead not guilty. Now, when this started, prior to this, I've already been through this. You guys have known this. For the first arrest that happened in June 6th, we went in. I didn't even plead not guilty. The judge just turned it over into preliminary. Went to the first preliminary. A doctor didn't show up. They continued it on. We went to the second prelim. The other doctor wasn't available, so it went on again. Well, instead of it going on to that third court date, the prosecuting attorney went ahead before a grand jury and indicted me on the charges.
Yeah.
So
It's just a runaround. It's an absolute runaround, and it's dragging this process on longer and longer, keeping Brandon separated from his family longer and longer. And now could have completely severed the ties with his family. So the third thing, so we need donations. We need you to show up on August 21st. And the third thing is we need prayer, you guys.
yeah,
Our whole country needs prayer. And our state needs prayer. And this family needs prayer. And I need your prayers, because I am interviewing all of these parents who have faced medical kidnapping of their children. And it's the heaviest burden. You know, to hear all these parents tell their stories, it's heartbreaking. And I'm trying to get it out and get it to you guys, but this is epidemic proportions what's happening in our state and in our country, and actually even in the world. Once you start digging into it, it's the whole world. So please pray for these families that are being affected, and spread the word and help people, and do everything you can to bring these dark acts to light. Thank you for joining me today. I know it's hard. And the call to action is money, prayers. Show up on August 21st. Thanks, friends.